for the practice owner, you need to be comfortable dealing with uncertainty. For your team, who are employees with employee mindsets, no uncertainty. You need to take as much uncertainty out of their day-to-day as possible. Because the more certain they are about how to go about things and how to excel, the better performance you're going to get.
Welcome to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, Coach's Corner Edition. Ready to boost your practice by 10,000 in just 10 minutes? Join your coaches, Jennifer and Tracey, for fast improvement strategies that drive real results. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, where we take regular clinic owners and we turn them into super clinic owners. Today, you are here with me, Jennifer Gligoric, and Tracey Sundkvist, and today is Coach's Corner. We're going to get you $10,000 within 10 minutes. And today's topic is about leadership. Specifically, leadership in uncertain times for health professionals, navigating staff shortages, burnout, and shifting patient demands. Tracey, take us away.
There is so much that we are going to cover in this very short space of time, just because this concept is key to the performance, the overall health and performance of their practice. So keeping people in a healthy headspace is as important as having your systems and your processes in check. And we're going to have a look at all of the things that you can do so that people show up in the best possible way for the practice, and even yourself, so you can understand what your triggers are and to make sure that you're showing up as the leader and you're leading the way in terms of how you go about doing things.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really difficult too, because, it is interesting times right now.
Now we have AI taking over a lot of stuff. We have a wealth of new graduates that are out clutching their degrees with absolutely no experience, who cannot seem to get a job, which is just crazy. I was looking at statistics from Ivy League schools of Ivy League grads a year out being able to not find any job. And so lying on resumes saying they didn't even have a degree so they could just work at fast food, and just saying, oh, I'm not degreed at all, so they could get something to bring in income. But with interesting times come interesting, possibilities. Don't think of someone as overqualified if they're someone like that, right? There are so many times where we will ask for, well, you have to have prior experience, you have to do this, when really what you need to think of is, what are the personality traits and skill traits that I need? Yes, you have to do some resume mining, but now with AI, there are a lot of different ways that you can focus through it and ask certain questions to get you a pool of people who may run the gamut, but be much more effectively great towards your job role. And there's companies, like Build My Team, that can do this for you as well for a fee. So you just have to think outside the box, other than just resume mining for that. And so let me just give you a couple of suggestions. 10,000, 10 minutes, ways you can do it. Go directly to the source, go directly to the schools. So if you need someone who's certified in something, go to the school. Usually there is someone on the staff that is paid to hype up how these graduates get jobs. Right? It actually is a selling point for most degrees and certifications in the United States, if we're talking the US, but even in Canada, to have some sort of employer college thing where they get stats like 60% of our graduates, get a job within 3 months. Right? Find out who keeps those stats and then say, how do I get access to your graduates? This is my opportunity. And you can get a direct from the certification to you. Yeah, you won't always get someone who's in that doing it, but you can get someone you can meld to your systems, who's really excited to get a job in their career, who's not going to have to go to Mickey D's. The same with your healthcare associations. If you're already involved in your national chiropractors association or dermatology association, there are people that are in that as well, that are often looking for different people and jobs and stuff like that. You can advertise, and that's a whole other place that you can go to outside of these resume mills, because most resumes are all AI driven now. It's really not effective, like it used to be. You have to either go to a company that knows how to utilize AI to actually get real people to actually respond, or you have to do it the networking way. But there are still people hiring incredible people like this, even now in 2025. Tracey, have you heard of any other things like that?
Well, the thing that comes to my mind is that it's hire for attitude, train for skill. There's no shortage of skill. We might have an attitude shortage, right? Finding people with the right attitude who want the same things as you want, that really is going to be the kicker for you. And so one thing that I would say is be very, very good at understanding who is the kind of person who you want to bring into your practice, because you can train the skills. You can train a lot of the stuff. And I'm not talking about the qualified, right? If they need to be a qualified chiropractor, please, you don't say Tracey on Coach's Corner said, no, we'll train. No. So, but understanding the person that you're bringing on board is going to be important. So how do you go about doing that? How good or effective are you at knowing or assessing this person's going to be a good fit for our team? I mean, if you've ever done interviews, what you will be very clear on is that people put the best foot forward, but you don't really get an accurate understanding of what that person is like. So what are the kind of things that you can do to be more sure of the kind of person that you're actually going to get, showing up every day? One thing that I used to use very effectively as a recruiter is DISC assessments. So DISC assessment is a behavioral assessment focused on 4 different key, it's observable behavior. So that is very reliable. It's got a ton of research behind it. And that is going to give you an understanding of strengths, weaknesses, and how are they going to approach roles? How are they going to approach people, deadlines, and what is going to motivate? So incorporate any of these kind of assessments to have an objective way to evaluate what is the person going to be like once I bring them in, and get good at doing that.
Yeah. Not only that, but it's very important that you
know what you're looking for, and that you do not create a job that's 5 different jobs in one, right? It's terrible when you're a solopreneur, you're doing all these things. So you want people to take this off your plate and this off your plate. And then you realize, well, if they're not an entrepreneur like I am, they're not going to have that skill set. So you really have to narrow it down on what exactly the job entails and have a strong, this is what the job does, this is what the job doesn't do, and these are the personality traits that we're really looking for. That's the reason most people get a really bad time when they put out a job ad. They get so many people back that are clearly not aligned with what they want. But if they don't even know what they want, it's just, well, I just can't get it, because they haven't written it down and really thought about it so that there's clear markers on yeses and nos for what they're looking at, and making sure you are in line with the salary. You need to go to pay grades, you need to do a salary assessment, and you need to just ask your chamber, what is a typical 1-bedroom apartment, the average rent in our area, and what is the salary that would need to afford that, right? If you're talking about just a regular, entry-level job, right? And then go up from there. A lot of times you're going to be it's probably going to be very eye-opening of how much inflation has affected things just in the last 5 years. It's going to be a lot more than what you think, and you need to budget appropriately. And if you don't know your numbers, really understand the numbers of your business, you're going to have a hard time. So usually the hiring, if you're unable to hire, it's systemic of a lot of other problems. You don't really know your numbers, you don't really know what you can afford, and you really aren't clear on the role that you're hiring in. Those things you have to get straight. And of course, there is tons of help to help you get straight. And Tracey and I know that that's what we do, but there's lots of ways you can do that to get very clear on what you want. The more clear you are, the more you'll be able to find exactly what you're looking for.
And no matter how unclear you are, when you employ somebody to join your team, whether it's a big team or a small team, don't just wing it. You don't just let that person fit in and pick things up as they go. You have got to provide as much certainty for that individual as possible, which means at the very least, they need to understand what their key performance indicators are. They need to understand, this is what I'm accountable for. This is what is expected of me. This is how I'm going to be managed, and this is where I can go for the support that I need. Winging it is the worst thing you can do for new hires. You're not going to be able to keep good people if you go about bringing people into your team in that way.
Right. They need to be very clear on what it is that makes you happy
and what it is that's good for the company and the things that aren't. And if you're not really sure, you don't have it really written down, then they're going to make it up as they go and what they think. And when they're making up the things that they think is good for the business, then you're not really the owner. You're not really managing that business. You're delegating the management and the future of your business to other people. So Tracey is absolutely 100% correct on that. But as long as you're clear, you'll be able to meet it to the other side of that. And also too, when you're clear like that and everybody understands where they're at, you're able to grow more effectively and able to scale. And it also helps prevent burnout in staff. It helps prevent a lot of things because you already know, oh, this job scope has really changed because all this has come on. Well, we need to make some changes. So you can prevent things from happening that are negative well before that and turn what could have been very negative outcomes into positive outcomes for your business.
Yeah, absolutely. For the practice owner, you need to be comfortable dealing with uncertainty. For your team, who are employees with employee mindsets, no uncertainty. You need to take as much uncertainty out of their day-to-day as possible. Because the more certain they are about how to go about things and how to excel, the better performance you're going to get.
Absolutely. Well, guys, this has been the end.
We hope you got $10,000 worth of value in 10 minutes. And be sure to like, follow, and share, and go to superclinicproject.com. If you want to talk to us or you're having a challenge with staff in your business, Tracey and I are here for you. Just book a short call with us and we'll be happy to help you through that. Again, guys, have a great SuperClinic week and give us a 5-star review so we can keep on helping you get $10,000 worth of revenue in your business within 10 minutes. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the SuperClinic Project Podcast, Coach's Corner Edition. If you would like to work with Jennifer or Tracey to 2 or 10x your business, then go to superclinicproject.com and click on either Jennifer or Tracey's photograph to book a complimentary session. Your greatest breakthrough is just a session away.